Well, today's video is kind of a short one. I turned 71 on Saturday. And so this weekend we had the kidlings down. Oliver and Malachi and my son Ryan. And basically my son Ryan and his two boys. And my lovely daughter-in-law. Well, I got Oliver that little mini John Deere, which whenever he sees me, he thinks John Deere. He wants to go right on the tractor. That's his favorite word. Tractor? He's not stringing sentences together, but he's coming close. So anyways, we had them come down yesterday and we had a big party and spent the day with them. So I didn't run a video per se. But I did do a lot of stuff. I worked on the John Deere tractor. I got it charged up before they got here. And Oliver came out and rode it around in the yard. And we learned that we don't drive it off into the weeds because it gets stuck. And he's learned to steer it, which is a big step up. Steering is a complicated issue because it's working something that doesn't really respond to the normal way of walking. You know, you're not turning your legs, you're turning your hands. But he got the idea, and he knows to make corrections and turn around so he doesn't go in the weeds again. Well, after that, we went inside and had a really great lunch. And my wife made chili, and we had birthday cake and ice cream and all kinds of stuff. And then we came outside, and Oliver wanted to see the big tractor. So I started it up and pulled it out of the shed, knowing full well that today I want to work on getting some stuff put away in the shed. I got to get it straightened out. It's just piled in there willy-nilly and kind of a mess. Also, I talked it over with my son, and he's going to inherit the wood chipper because I don't use it to shred leaves and I'm not cutting trees down. So he's got a lot of trees that he's trimming at his house, and he doesn't have a shredder other than a little tiny one from Harbor Freight, which is nice. It does a good job on little sticks, but it doesn't do leaves, and he's got almost as many trees as I do. So he's going to be taking that back to his house. Gets it out of my shed. I bought it and got it running and used it, and it works really good. But when I put the bagger on the tractor, I'm not shredding leaves anymore. The bagger does it all by itself. So they just end up in the pile back there, and I don't have to drag this out. It's sat in here for 3 years now. And I'm thinking it's time for it to go away because it's just in the way. That little mower sitting there, the little Toro, I still want to play with that. It looks like a fun project, but it's not an urgent project, so it's just sitting here. All that pile of lumber on the ground, though, that's the workbench for this little shed. I want to put a workbench in here so I can work on engines and things away from the garage, so I don't have quite the clutter in the garage. It makes it so I can't get the truck in and out, which is kind of a pain. And I have a huge mess back here. This is something that I got from my son. He said, "You're still going to the scrapyard on a regular basis?" And I said, "Well, not regular, but I am going." So this is something off an old swing set at his house. And he asked if I would want to put it in the truck and take it to the scrapyard, so I think I will. That pipe, I think that's going to go to the scrapyard too. Trying to get some of the stuff thinned down a little bit. I'm dragging stuff home that's useful. No point keeping stuff that isn't. Another thing that should go is that aluminum wire. I thought about cutting it up and melting it up for scrap, but you know, it's hardly worth the trouble. There's not that much aluminum in it. By the time you strip off all the sheathing and everything, you've ended up with a little bitty pile. I'd be better off taking that, putting it in the truck and taking it down to the scrapyard and selling it. Some people might say, well, why don't you use it? Yeah, I had thoughts that I could use it to run power out to the blacksmith shop, but it's aluminum wire. I don't trust aluminum wire. It makes bad connections. even though you can use Noalox on it, and make it so that it doesn't corrode as easily, still, if I'm going to run a welder out here in this shop, which is what the ultimate thing is to move the welder, plasma torch, and other equipment out to the blacksmith shop instead of having it in the garage, so I can work out here where things won't burn, and if they do burn, it's a small thing far away from the house. Anyways, that wire is not worth it. Running some 4/0 out here, there's only about 100 feet to run. It's not that much money. Of course, price going up, so Lord knows what it's going to be in 6 weeks. But in any case, I think I'd be better off running copper. Now, I still got this thing here. I was intending to cut that up, but once again, I'd rather spend the day with my grandsons and my son and my daughter-in-law and my wife. It's a small price to pay, but I'm going to drag the cutting torch out here. I was thinking I was going to use the grinder to get this apart, and I thought, you know what? I don't need full lengths. I can just chop out the lengths that I need and then grind off and pare down the pieces that I want to use. That would make better sense than trying to grind all that stuff and spend a lot of time, effort, and money on cut-off wheels when the cutting torch will just blast through the stuff. Plasma torch sounds like a better operation, except the plasma torch is not a real good thing for skiving things apart that are welded. I can actually burn a weld without burning the steel underneath it with a cutting torch. It takes some practice, but it's a good opportunity to practice. This little wagon here, that's going to be going up to Ryan's house too, because I have a truck and I don't have any place to put that inside. It sits outside, it's rusting away. I had to put a new set of wheels on it because the tires sun weather checked. You know, the sun beat on them and the tires weather checked. I don't have any place to put it inside. So that's going up to Ryan's house too. He has a nice shed. He has 2 little boys that want to ride on the back of the tractor. Malachi is just old enough that he can hold his head up. He's not ready for tractor rides yet, but Oliver certainly is, and he'd be happy to ride in the back. Oliver also likes to ride on Grandpa's lawnmower. His dad has one just like it without the bagger, and Oliver thinks that it's big fun to come down to Grandpa's house, and he always walks over and wants to come in and sit on the tractor. He's got a regular set of rounds. He knows that Grandpa's house has these things and he wants to see them. So all in all, it was a good day yesterday. I greatly enjoyed it. I look forward to every time the little boys come down, and we all have big fun. That's all for today. I hopefully will have better things tomorrow, but if I don't, bear with me.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.